hear it.
Welcome. Thank you. Welcome to White Details. No rest. Bit empty this side.
Hi everyone, welcome to Pyramid Car Care's new series called Meet the Detailers. Today we are at White Details with Jim. Jim.
Right, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure, welcome. Yeah, I mean, White Details, I know we've been in contact now for a good few months online. It's great for you guys to come down. Thank you for travelling down, or travelling up even. But I've been established here as a new build back in late 2014, 2015 I was in from February onwards. Established actually in 2009 as White Details as a business, but this is hopefully my third and final premises. Outskirts of Lincoln, in Lincolnshire, in the middle of nowhere. It's sort of a bit off the grid, as you just found out.
Yeah.
But that works.
In the car park there.
Yeah, it's a bit odd sometimes being met in a car park, but it works well in the respect of appointment only. No one knows. There's no big neon sign saying White Details, supercars, and whatever else. And it's nice to have that. If it was on the edge of an industrial park, there's a knock on the door which is great. It's passing trade. But when you have got a big job to get sorted and you're in the zone, headphones on, you just want to get stuck in. But it works really well. We were able to spec it to our custom requirements. Lighting, heat, the ramp and the floor. There's been a few problems recently with the floor tiles. We've spoke about that briefly earlier on. But it works really well. It's comfortable, efficient. It's a nice place to be. And when you are spending 6 days a week and 10 plus hour days here, it has to be comfortable. I really don't miss the mobile days. I wouldn't be able to replicate what I do here anywhere else. It has to be as it is, I think.
I think that's really important, especially the amount of time that you spend here. You're talking about 10-hour days. I can imagine that's not over 5 days. Not for every White Detail.
You never know. Sometimes the White Detail, unfortunately, it takes what it takes. So the Mercedes here, it's actually, today is Saturday, I'm not working tomorrow. But other weeks, the White Details, if the severity of the defects are that bad, until it's done, it's not done. Yeah. So I'll get in a late night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, to make the rest of the week hopefully easier. And if I go into the Saturday and Sunday, it has to be. But to try and make social plans the weekend when I've got a full White Detail booking on a Vogue or an Arnage, it's difficult to be able to quote for the job, because I don't know, it could be 90 hours, it could be 130 hours. But yeah, the comfort value, it helps too. I'm walking distance as well. I live 5 minutes in the village, so that's convenient as well if I run out of tea bags. Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's a nice one. It's a nice example actually. It had some repair work, some respray work a couple of years ago now, but it's come from Ireland. It's come over across from Ireland. It's the client's second car they've had done. The 214,000 mile Range Rover Vogue episode, if you may have seen. It's same chap, same guy. It's obviously a big commitment. It's a big ask for them to ship cars from Ireland, even from London. It's a long way. So it's an honour to get invited to work on them. They've had it for a long time. It's here for the white detail, which is my gold package, if you will. So it's boasted a full major paint correction, the removal of as many of the defects as safe to do so, which actually, because it had a respray 24 months ago, it almost made our life a bit easier. All the hardier damage, the chips, has all been eliminated. Unfortunately though, it's come from the SL shop, which is like a specialist for these cars. It's a 500 SL. And you can see if you peek over, there's no dashboard, there's no steering wheel, the airbag's not there. It's work in progress, so it doesn't time well to be here for the full detail because it has to go back. So, but
you want to be
the very last thing, yeah. But the diary with white details, we're fully booked now through till first week in August, I think. So we couldn't really reshuffle it. The SL shop had delays themselves, hence why it's not finished. So we've just had to do what we do, and let's fingers crossed and hope that. I think it's more interior work they've got to finalise, but full major paint correction. The wheels have come off. The car actually has had a lot of underbody treatment already, wax oil stuff, and it's just horrible, sticky, tacky, which is splashed all down the side, and then the door shuts and the engine, so that took a bit of cleaning up. Obviously the badge isn't there currently, but we're to replace that when the owner turns up tomorrow. But it's beautiful. It's a beautiful paint. There's very little in the way of the paint now in terms of marks or abrasions, blemishes. Fully coated, wheels have been refurbished, interior, engine bay is pretty smart. I don't even know the mileage because there's no dials, there's no clocks there to show you. I don't even know what year it is. It's on an Irish plate, so I can't. What are they? 93, 92, 93? It's nice.
Is that a new badge on there?
No, that's the original badge. The Merc badge, the star, was actually proud. It had been bent, I think, during the respray. Whoever's trying to put it back on, it doesn't now sit flush. So we could have sourced one ourselves, but he said, no, don't worry, I'll bring one along when. So actually, it's allowed us to cut, polish, correct that area without the badge, protect it, and a new badge will go on as a final icing on the cake. 4.5, 5 days in total. Actually, this was a much easier white detail than most. You just never know sometimes, as I said earlier, how long the white detail might take. It might be 5 days, it might be Saturday, Sunday.
Absolutely phenomenal, isn't the finish? Do you think the clarity in the paint, that's from the refining stage?
For sure. I mean, the paint responded favourable. Actually, some paint finishes get cut up, they get marring, they get hologrammed and damaged during the cutting, which obviously needs refining. But this, we could have sort of put the tools away and dusted down after the cutting because it was just a nice finish. The product combination. We mostly use the Rupes, the Force dual action, and Maguire's 5 and 6 inch cutting pads, microfiber cutting pads, and the Lake Country 3-inch pads with the hybrid, and Menzerner 400 for the cut on the most part. Sometimes Maguire's 101. Areas like around the handle or behind the handle, you can't get machine into there, so that's done by hand with something like 101 or Menzerner 300, a bit more coarse, which you can then work down the stages with hand polish to refine it. Refined with Sonac's perfect finish. Yes, we could have stopped after the cutting because it looked great, but it's amazing what the refining still adds. The final finish, the refinement, the glisten on the paintwork. It's now fully prepped, and well, it was then fully prepped, blown down to eliminate any dusting and lint before it was panel wiped, and then actually coated with this one with Kamikaze Collection zip hand coat. This is wearing. It's my premium coating, if you will, my go-to for that. So it's beautiful. I'm looking forward to seeing it in the sun. It'd be nice.
Wheels back on and then away you go.
Yeah, that's right. Hopefully this afternoon. The customer's due in tomorrow. It's not actually leaving until Wednesday next week. The customer's dropping another car off for a new car prep next week. and the busy fool I am, bank holiday Monday, I should be starting on the Monday, getting the wash work, wet work done and out the way. But if you look at the engine, although the car obviously has history and it's of age, there's only so much you can do on a bait. I mean, the star's flaked, it's been painted at some point in the past, and the sound deadened at the back there, it's all weathered and perished. But with what we're doing, the aesthetical sort of cosmetic clean protect, this is nice and trim though for a under bonnet. It's nice to see that not crumbled and flaked and
sagging things.
Yeah, that's right. So it's been a nice little job. If they were all like this, it would be a different story.
Incredible facility.
Sure. Yeah.
And you and Ryan have spoken about the car in detail. Now we really want to get to know you.
Okay.
We're here to meet the detailer. So where did you get started?
I said that White Details was established 2009, April 6. But as I think a lot of people started, it was just passion and interest in my own car. At the time, I was Monday to Friday in an office-based job, like an e-commerce desk, computer, a bit of sales and servicing and travelling around. But at weekend, Saturday, Sunday, I became a weekend warrior. I only thought about the other day, I had a black 106 XS, and me and my friends used to gather at a friend's house with a big drive where you get all the cars there, get the hose pipe out and the sponge, and we'd start rubbing down with old t-shirts and a bit of altered lemon tea cut, and you think, great, let's go out tonight with the cars. But then you look at the car and actually there was ghostly marks and holograms and all sorts, and my eye was looking at stuff and thinking, should that be there? And I suppose I was intrigued to learn about that industry.
Yeah.
And obviously I look back to actually what I was doing with my stepdad's old t-shirt, and it wasn't the best for the car. But it was just an involvement of learning and mistakes, I suppose, and Monday to Friday in the office job, Saturday, Sunday working at the back of my hatchback as a weekend warrior, and then I bit the bullet in 2009 to make it official and go full time. I used to be washing the work vans, the commercial vehicles at weekends and stuff. I'd like to say that passion's still there, but it's a long time ago.
I think it's quite interesting hearing about where you've come from. It's very similar to my story with Ryan Pyramid Car Care.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan and I have been working jobs whilst starting Pyramid Car Care.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And we're fortunate now that we've got to a point where we've got a bit more time and we can come out and meet detailers like you. But I think that leads on to another question. So we put up a post this morning on Instagram and Facebook.
Good selfie.
And we asked people to comment with their questions. We've had a few come through. So we want to give a shout out really to some of those. So first up we've got NDS Detailing, who's asked this morning, did you start mobile and progress to studio-based detailing, or always been studio? If both, which gave you the most satisfaction?
It was mobile. It would have been great to have a facility in place from day one. Yeah. Obviously, it's a massive overhead, especially if it's a new outfit you're just starting. It's a rent, you've got rates, you've got all the insurance to consider. So as a young chap at the time, as a new venture, it was progressed from a weekend warrior out the back of my hatchback into an A4 Avant I got into, which is my workhorse. Cool. Had it sign written, chucked the Karsha in the back and the tools and the rotary and the Makitas, and off we went around Leicestershire, Northampton, Nottinghamshire, Lincolnshire, travelling as a mobile service. It was nice in the respect that you had time with the customer and you had more time to form a sort of relationship, and you saw new places and went to some nice properties, and a constant supply of bacon sandwiches was always good. But at the same time, there's a lot to get done. Obviously what's done now is completely different to what was done then. It wouldn't be possible to do what I was doing then, mobile, what we do now. But it was fun in its own way. If it was a 2 or 3 day venture, that would be a B&B. You'd see new places, meet new people. But there are limitations, there are restrictions with light and time and humidity, and you can't be in the customer's garage or carport till 8:30 at night when they're tucking into the steak and potato. So to have complete control with your own premises, yes, early on it is an overhead, but it gives you much more structure and the ability to hone in where you want to go with things. You haven't got as many restrictions. Which gives the most satisfaction? Obviously the unit. I wouldn't be where I am now without this site. I'm very lucky, as I said earlier, to have this as a setup. Would it want to be any bigger? The outfit I've built, probably not. I don't want that big operation. I don't want to be a massive conveyor belt of cars in and out all the time. The work is there, don't get me wrong. It's hard to keep on top of the inquiries, but I don't want 3 or 4 guys running around. It's 3 or 4 lots of mess and problems, potential problems. So what it is at the minute, it's all under control and one in, one out.
Yeah, that was a great question from NES Detailing. Thank you.
Did I go on a bit there? There we go.
Okay, next up, we've got a question from Home of HD. Would you get out and work with Obsessed Garage in Florida or do a collaboration?
Matthew. Yeah, Obsessed Garage. I've followed Matt and been in contact with Matt for some time now.
Yeah.
In fact, he did post a potential new facility he had his eye on, and I messaged Matt off the back of that to say, when you're up and running, talking about training days, it would be great to fly out and potentially do some work together. As a big BMW fan himself with his 1M now. Yeah, he's got some good content on there. Yeah, should be good.
Cool. Next question from Instagram then. We've got Daryl at Offset Detailing. Red or white wine?
A wine. If I had to push, it would be white, but normally it's a Stella.
Yeah.
A Stella Artois.
Brilliant. Thanks, Daryl. So Jim, you've been detailing now for 10 years. You started as a mobile detailer, travelling around Lincoln, Nottingham, quite a big area to get the work in. A lot's changed since then.
Sure.
We're here now at the White Details unit and the White Details brand. Can you tell us a little bit about how things have changed since you got started, and tell us about the White Details brand?
Oh, massively. The internet and social media in the last 10 years has changed also. It's helped to accommodate growth. Looking back to, I was a big member on Detailing World forums, as I'm sure we all were. I used to be posting in the showroom, then I got into the studio posts because I was deemed as being a business and I had to go into the studio. But at this point, there was none of the video, it was just images. You would document the day's work or 3 days' work and pictures and JPEGs, and you then write about each individual picture. So although an edit, as Ryan will know with the editing for this video, will take onwards of 10 hours sometimes, actually writing about individual photos and saying this is a before picture, you can see the bonnets hazy and scratched and bird lime etchings and stuff. But to do that on forums, on various platforms, you'd write it once and copy it into multiple places and try and build an audience that way. Instagram came along and sort of started to grow a bit of a following on there. The YouTube channel has actually been going since 2012, which is quite early, but the vlog was like 2016, 2017. But my YouTube footage before then was slideshow stuff, PowerPoint presentations style, if you will. The early stuff still there, but you can see the night and day difference between that and the actual vlog where I pick up the camera and educate and talk. But with that said, the Instagram has grown well, but I think when my first vlog went out, there was about 7,000 or 8,000 on Instagram, so it was a good audience to reach out to begin with. Whereas if you're starting from scratch and you pick up the camera and you've got 20 people to go out to, it's hard to get momentum to get the ball rolling. But YouTube, it's a fantastic platform. It's a very visual thing that we do. And I said to you in the bar last night, if a photo speaks 1,000 words, a video speaks a dictionary. It just allows you to show the detail, and there's no limitations. You've got free range. You can talk. The potential clients get to know you as a person. They can understand, and if they trust you, if they like you, to send their £70,000, £700,000 car to a lad in the middle of nowhere.
Of course.
So if we go back 20 years with the Yellow Pages, would you still have this same reputation from word of mouth? Probably not. So it's evolved rapidly.
Yeah, I think the thing that's changed there is I imagine that you're still picking up word of mouth publicity,
Sure, yeah.
but the channels that are being used to promote that sort of word of mouth have changed. You know, there's a lot of people commenting on your videos. I can see the count right behind you there is at 41,964 followers.
Yeah.
I'm sure by the time this video goes live, we've passed the 42,000 mark.
Yeah, it's once it gets going, momentum picks up. The more you have, the faster it sort of starts to. What's the word for that? I forget there's an explanation for that one, but snowballs. There we go. I was going to say cannonball, not quite.
It's really good
Destroys
to see a snowball just thrown in there.
Yeah.
So next up, we've got a question on Instagram from Christian_S550.
Hi, Christian.
Nice Mustang. And Christian's question, Jim, what's the biggest downside and hardest obstacle for anyone wanting to run and start a detailing business from scratch?
Well, certainly starting a business today, 2019, there's a lot of us out there now. There's a lot of competition, so it's kind of, as the products can be, the market is saturated. In this area, perhaps not so much, but busier regions, Birmingham, Manchester, the cities, there's more south you go. There's a lot of competition, so how do you differentiate yourself? How do you stand out? That's the reason I picked up a camera, to actually try and take a different angle at the social media.
Of course.
But there are some difficulties, and winter for one. I'm graced to have this property, so other than the wet work out here, which you're freezing your toes and you turn into a bit of an icicle. How do you dry an ice cube? That's always good fun. But you have to stick it out, you have to live and breathe it, and to get through the hard times, there's ups and downs, of course, but the ups outweigh the negatives, and you've got to have other things as well to concentrate on. We spoke briefly about anxiety and the mental state of some of the detailers when they're locked away in the unit for umpteen hours a week, and that's all they're doing. Having Terry certainly helps, just as a companion, as a mental thing, to have some company. So yeah, having another body around, just as the companionship helps. But if you are, I suppose if you're mobile, you've got the relationship to the customer, you can actually speak to them and engage with them a little bit. But there are bad months, there are bad times when you just don't want to be doing it. You'd rather, I've been so close, quite happily throwing the towel. And you think, oh, I've built this now, it's established, it's going well. What else would I do? This is it's a passion. It's my career. It isn't work. If you do it properly, it's just something you do. It's not a job. So I think I've gone again.
I think there's quite an important message in what you've said there in terms of sticking it out. And so for some of the detailers just getting started,
we can do this.
Some of the detailers that have just gone through their first winter period, or some of the the new detailers for 2019 that will be having their first winter period in the UK. That might be within a couple of months, who knows. But sticking it out is really important, and I think hearing it from you, those detailers can then feel a little bit more inspired that actually, if they stick to it, who knows where they could be in it.
To commit into it, to put your heart into it, you've got to live and breathe it, and deal with the bad bits along the way.
Yeah.
Right.
Following on from the question from Christian, I want to explore a little bit more about the pressures of running a successful detailing business alongside a YouTube channel and having a personal and social life as well as that. How do you juggle those elements of your life?
I've fallen victim of my own success with the YouTube stuff, really. It's sort of taken over, unfortunately. It's good to ride with it whilst you've got it, but it has its drawbacks. It does leave me with very little time. Social life, I mean, I virtually say I'm living in work, living at work in the village. It's hard to escape. That's convenient in itself, to be here for a weekend drop-off or a quotation or pick up. I don't have to travel half an hour from where I was before. But you can never switch off. We've said already that you have to live and breathe something like this. If it's detailing, if it's landscaping, if it's your own whatever, it's yours. It's got to be catered for and sort of nursed, if you will. But the balance, the work-life balance, I get the odd session in at CrossFit and I do the odd thing. this weekend I'll be nipping home to see the family. But during the week, Monday to Friday, it is all hands on deck. I tend not to do too much in terms of social media and emails and inquiries in here. When I'm here, the important thing is the car. I tend to take notes off phone calls and get back to them at night, but then I'm on the laptop all night and tend not to stick the TV on. I don't really get time to watch anything on box sets, but my way of relaxing is, it can well be just sat on the laptop. I'd be quite happy to sit in, a cup of tea, beer, and sit on the laptop before we even get to the editing. There's all the inquiries, the accounts, the paperwork, the diary allocations, the deposits to sort out. And then with the editing, you finish the week on the white detail, or even during the week, if you can get a head start on the edit. So by Wednesday, you download the footage, you jump the footage into the timeline and start to work your way through the editing. Bless you. It's, I'm sort of riding it, and it is difficult to switch out from that. But if you've got people around you that can distract you from that, at the same time, a lot of the time I am happy to do my own thing and hide myself away, really. But it's quite humbling to have the connections and the what's in place now. It said about earlier, it's easy to throw the towel in sometimes when it's all the weight's crashing down and you too much going on. To step back and actually look at the bigger picture of it, what it is, and that thing over there keeps ticking over with new subscribers all the time. Yeah. It's great. It's amazing. The reward is payment after the car and the customers, the kind of words and the testimonial wants to pick the car up. But flip side of that, the audience we now have as a brand and the support I get from fans, that's humbling. A message came through the other night from a young lad who was just reaching out to thank me for the efforts and what's involved, because it's helping him. He's been diagnosed with multiple illnesses in the last 12 months. Only 29, and he says that this is his way into detailing now. It's his avenue for relaxation, and it's therapeutic for him, and mentally it's helped him a lot. And I get that a lot, and it's great. But this is probably the biggest cause of my slight angst and sort of depression, if you will, or slight downturn sometimes. It's hard to get yourself out of that. At the same time, that's what's helping me establish the business. But a lot of people come to me to say that it is great. It's helping them through post-traumatic stress disorder sometimes, rehabilitation, which is just great. It's sort of the therapeutic avenue for some people that they take.
That's been a really interesting insight to the life of JimWD, the detailer.
The dark behind the scenes. It happens, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, this whole series is about meeting the detailers. A lot of people, I think, will see that insight into what goes into a white details vlog. So I'm glad we've covered that. And I think now let's move on to some quick fire questions about detail.
All right, okay.
Quick fire questions. Number 1. What's your favourite vlog episode on white detail so far?
Oh, favourites. There's 70 odd now. The recent Aston Martin Vanquish cigar to shoot and break episode, which I can't use after 15 hours of editing for legal reasons.
That's unfortunate.
Yes.
Question number 2. What's the hardest car you've detailed?
Porsche 928. Was it 928? Flat black in colour, solid black. Tried to film the week and just battled. It battled hard. It just didn't want to know. The more we tried, the more we put in. Tough week.
Okay. Question number 3, and this one's from RB Detailing. He wants to know how you cope with back issues detailing cars. Do you do yoga or have regular massages?
That sounds good though. It's a nice idea, that. No, but I soon might. I suppose, I've always been quite active and always been quite fit. The previous gym work has helped, and the CrossFit stuff probably helps as well, actually, posture and that. The ramp, the scissor lift, and the wheelie stools, the ability to polish comfortably at my height as opposed to the car's height. But I don't focus there's no focus on my own well-being, really. I'm just quite, for now, touch wood, I'm doing all right.
Question number 4. In the 10 years that you've been detailing, what have been the biggest changes in that time?
To the industry? Technology and machines, I was using the rotary, I'm still quite happily still could. The DAs come forward, the ceramic coating introductions and pyramid like yourself. There's been a lot of industry changes, lots of more advancements in science and stuff like that, but I don't get too involved in the properties or characteristics of stuff. I just get given, well, I use what I'm using, but it's more and more mainstream now, detailing. As opposed, everyone's a detailer. Everyone that was valeting for 30 years is now a detailer. Everyone's got a machine, everyone's detailing. But it's good, it's healthy. It's healthy to have competition.
Question number 5. Of the products that you use, what are the products that you use most frequently?
Most jobs will have the same sort of decontamination system. So Autosmart TARDIS, AM Details clay bar, bit of citrus APC in places. Built Hamber, moving forward to the blow in the downstage. It's not exactly products, but the big boy Blow R Pro, the vehicle blower from Ultimate Finish. Menzerner, spoken about earlier. Maguire's, spoken about earlier. The compounds, polish, the pads. Coating wise, Kamikaze collections of Pound Coat, Miyabi Coat, Pyramid Coating. Odds and sods, bits and bobs of. It's nice to have an array of selections of products to use as opposed to just use these, please. To be able to pick and choose is great.
Okay. Question number 6 then, and it's a question that we get asked a lot. What's the best way to apply Pyramid Car Care ceramic coating?
It's a very straightforward system, really. It is easy. You've made it easy for the end user, amateur detailer or professional detailer like myself. It's as long as you've got a bit about you with the background and the understanding of cloth management, residue control, and making sure you're not working with a dirty car in the first place or a dirty environment. It is a lovely product to work with. It's pretty much straightforward. The 4-hour curing time is convenient for timescales if you're against the clock or if you're a mobile guy working with limitations. But for the Merc, I would typically split the bonnet into half, apply it to half the bonnet, remove the other half, remove that half, apply the other half, remove that. The wing I'd apply to the full wing, the door I'd apply to the full door. It's very forgiving, very easy, and yeah, I'm very pleased with it, to be honest. I'm very pleased.
Great, thank you. Last 3 questions, and we're going to take questions from the audience. First up, what's your favourite?
Hello? I didn't know there were 20 folk over there. What's up, mate? Yeah, go on, I'm listening.
Last 3 questions.
Okay.
First one from Instagram. We've got TFG Valeting. He wants to know, what's the favourite part of the detailing process?
My favourite part, being paid is always good, but in terms of the transformation and the reward from the job, it's once the refining started. Once you get halfway through the refining, you see things starting to shape up, coming back to life. Yeah.
Okay, this is a personal account. Has Jim ever been less than 100% happy with a white detail?
Good question. We put in what we can. Sometimes there are limitations, damage, scars, abrasions, scuffs that obviously we can't do anything with. The Merc interior, we're missing a steering wheel and a dashboard, so I can't do anything about that. We push to strive for the best that we can, so there may be 1 or 2 bits. Yes, no. It's less than 100%. We're happy. Once the car's left, we're confident. If I'm happy, the customer's happy.
It's the final question.
It's definitely not going there. Definitely not going there.
Right, final question.
Okay.
It's a personal one from Smart Valet Glasgow. He wants to know, when did you last sit down and binge watch Game of Thrones or hit a club till 3 a.m?
What's Game of Thrones?
Excuse me? I didn't hear. Okay.
I'm out this evening. I have a friend's barbecue / drink / event to get stuck into tonight. It's bank holiday weekend, working yesterday, working on Monday, unfortunately, starting a new car prep. But such is life, and it would just be nice to have a few beers tonight and a steady one. But thank you for the questions.
I'm ready for it. I'm Paul ready. I'm ready. Jason Paul. JimWD.
That's the end of our quickfire questions, and that brings us to the end of episode 2 of Meet the Detailers.
It's been a pleasure spending time here at the White Details facility and spending time with Jim at White Details.
Cool.
So thank you, Jim.
Pleasure. Thanks, Callum. Cheers, right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming up.
If you want to learn more about White Details, be sure to subscribe below. Sorry, I can't do it.
Hang on.
Oh dear. I can't help it.
This is amazing. Because I've been through all this, and this is probably quite good for me because it shows how I'm learning from my mistakes. Yeah, I'm not saying that you Car Care family for watching. If you've enjoyed, get out. No.
It's so lingering.
That was you. These two clowns are struggling to end this video, so I'm going to give it a go myself. Thank you for coming up today. It's been great to have a collaboration with Pyramid Car Care. It's been an insight, hopefully, to the White Details behind the scenes. Some of what goes. I can't do it.
I've got it.
He's got it. Am I in?
Alright. Shall I just finish?
I'm going to go for it.
Is that what she said?
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. The camera just died. It's fine. Carry on. It's alright. We've got this one going.
Fine.
So, Jim,
You went on the back up of the screen.
I did. I did. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. And that unfortunately brings an end to our episode of White Details of Meet the Detailers. Jim, thanks so much for having us.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it.
Good to see you. That's good.
thank you.
I've never had this and do a video. Oh, I'm glad I don't work with you two.
Oh.
This would be hard work.
We do this quite a lot, to be fair.
Oh, sorry, you were on it then. I wasn't.
I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank you, the audience, for tuning in and watching Meet the Detailers. And really, it's over to you. Anything you'd like to say before we go?
No, just mirroring that really. Thanks for watching. Hope it was of some use, some insight. If you'd like to know or learn more about White Details, in the video description down below you'll find White Details social tags to YouTube for the vlogs and perhaps Instagram where behind the scenes and updates what happened. I think it's time for a cup of tea and sit down.
Absolutely, sounds good.
Share some footage.